morning, happy Friday, and to all my fellow Horseheads Blue Raiders out there, happy homecoming. Woo! Okay, you know what, I do have a low, and that is, it's almost 2 o'clock right now, and I'm just getting this video started. I stayed in bed way too long, but you know what? That's a good thing. Because tonight's homecoming, man. Like, it's gonna be loud. I mean, against Elmira of all, please, that entire stadium is gonna go nuts the entire time. You know what? I needed the extra sleep to prepare for tonight. And that's good, because now I'm rested. I'm raring to go. And I have my Horseheads Blue Raiders gear in my bedroom behind me. But enough about that. Let's see. And you know what? My high is the fact I am really excited about homecoming. It's going to be awesome. But before that, though, I have some things to do. I'm going to have some mom and son time, because I love my mom. And I also have to talk about a few things. You know, obviously, yesterday's episode of Hot Ones, which was a lot of fun. I have to go over the pick I made yesterday, which I got wrong. I'll get to that in a second. And, what's my act of kindness? You know, I did hold the door for someone yesterday. That was my act of kindness. So, enough with all the pleasantries. Let's get into, let's get to business. My NFL picks. Okay, so for right now, I am 0-1 because I predicted the Rams would win. I was wrong, so this week I am now 0-1. There we go. That was easy. Yeah, just do one thing at a time and things will go along smoothly. And now I need to talk about yesterday's episode of Hot Ones. Of course, let me double save this. We always double save our work on here. I didn't make that mistake this week, though. If you recall in last week's video, when I talked about Kate McKinnon's episode of Hot Ones, I forgot to save what I typed down. So I had to go off of memory. But this time, I didn't screw that up. It's the fact that Channing Tatum was on yesterday's episode of Hot Ones. It was really cool. I'm sure a lot of people who always wanted to see Channing Tatum at Hot Ones finally got to cross that off their list. I mean, at this point, Hot Ones gets just about anybody, so yeah, getting Channing Tatum doesn't surprise me at all. Although it does surprise me were the questions that Sean asked. For starters, shaping his character, or Channing Tatum's character, for Roofman. Because if you don't know, it's based on a true story of how a guy who made not really the greatest decisions in life got into jail, he escaped jail, and spent 6 months hiding inside of a Toys R Us. He is currently back in jail right now. And Channing Tatum got to talk to the guy. Hey, you actually got to talk to that real criminal. I mean, at the end of the day, Channing Tatum believes that he really is a decent guy. It's just, you know, few too many bad decisions. And you know what? That sometimes does happen. It's very sad and unfortunate. But, like Channing Tatum couldn't call the guy. The guy had to call Channing Tatum. And they're like, because if you're in jail, you got like 15 minutes of call time a thing. And he's trying to, basically Channing Tatum was trying to figure out how to beat this character in the movie. And at the end of the day, this guy just wanted to be loved and do good for his family. Which, you know what, is a noble thing, but there are so many ways you can go about doing it that don't involve making bad decisions. Believe me, I know. Actually, speaking of Toys R Us, they talk about being inside of a Toys R Us, which we had a Toys R Us growing up. I don't think I ever shared this. We actually had a Toys R Us by the Arnott Mall. It's now a giant automatic car washing place. You know, it's funny. If you don't know, Toys R Us was one of those many businesses that, you know, fell out of business because of the rise in, shopping online and Amazon and stuff like that. but I can still remember walking to Toys R Us. And they actually like built a toys like they found like an old Toys R Us that was actually still in business somehow, and like they updated, made everything new and really cool and everything. I almost want to see that Toys R Us just because I want to test something. Because if you don't know, there are certain odors and scents that can trigger memories in your head, right? And Toys R Us definitely had one of those like odors and scents, like you walk in, you're like, ah. In Toys R Us, it smelled like plastic, wood, a little bit of sadness, and actually they had clothes in our Toys R Us too. That was really cool. They talked about the most Channing Tatum ever suffered for his craft, which was when Mark Ruffalo like hit him on the side, popping his eardrum in a Fox Run. I think it was that movie was called. He talked about the most moved he ever became from reading a script was when he read the script for Guide. He tried to debunk the myth about if it really took 50 takes for Sandra Bullock to remove the leeches off of his rear end in The Lost City. He's like, I don't quite know it was 50, but it was definitely a lot of takes. They kind of talked about the positive and negatives of why streaming is bad, of what streaming is, and how he specifically wants to put money into good projects. And I guess in a way, I mean, there is something to be said about going to see those projects in a theater, but if you can get them on streaming, I see the convenience in that too. So there you go. He talked about the very best dancing he ever did for a movie was in Hail Caesar. And then we get to The Bomb Beyond Insanity. Every time Sean Evans asks this question, I feel like I'm obligated to write down like all the taglines, see if the guest gets them right. This time I didn't do that because, quite frankly, it's kind of annoying to do. But I will say Channing Tatum did get a lot of them right. And the ones that he didn't get, he actually forgot he was in those movies. So, yeah, we'll give him a pass. He talked about taking things off of sets when they're finished wrapping, and one of the most coveted things he has is his costume from Eagles. That's funny. And, you know what? The last question was really cool. Because basically it was like, how do you deal with like depression and getting nervous when it comes to, auditioning? And I'm not going to give away the answer here, but I will say that different people have different ways of being able to do that. For me, if I was ever performing, I pretty much just went out and did it. Not really care about the nerves, surprisingly. I still don't know how I was able to do that myself. And depression, that's a hard one because there can be a lot of depression that comes from being rejected for a movie role or whatever else you may be rejected from. At this point, I figure just keep a chin up. Listen, there's like 7+ billion people in the world. Not everyone's going to be saying yes to you. Largely because the vast majority of them don't know you. But keep your chin up. It'll happen. Yeah, man, this was great. This was a really great episode of Hot Ones, man. This is exciting. But You know what? Seeing yesterday's episode of Hot Ones is the perfect segue to talking about what today is. As I said before, it is homecoming, baby. Now, on the off chance some of you guys watching this are new, full story, I didn't go to homecoming last year. No, I didn't. The reason being was because I went to my 15-year reunion at Trinity Pawling, which was also Trinity Pawling's homecoming. So I did go to a homecoming, just not the one for Horseheads. Now, if I remember correctly, Horseheads played against Owego, which I would have thought Horseheads would have won, but turns out Owego was pretty good. Like, really good. Like, somehow they wound up beating the brakes off of Horseheads. Meanwhile, when I was at Trinity Pawling, I did a whole bunch of stuff. I went to the alumni hockey game, a few celebrations and parties, got to see people I haven't seen in years. And then came Saturday afternoon, where Trinity Pawling would play against one of our big rivals, Taft. In a defensive struggle, the Trinity Pawling Pride beat Taft 12-7. It was a very, very defensive game. I mean, I've shared this before, but in case you haven't heard this already, one of my biggest goals in life ever is to help a student from this area get to Trinity Pawling, or virtually anyone, anywhere in the Founders League. Like Taft, or Avon Old Farms, or Brunswick, or Loomis Chaffee, or any of those schools. Or possibly Ethel Walker, Miss Porter's, because there's a few all-girls schools as well. Obviously, as an alumni from Trinity Pawling and Horseheads, ideally, that student should be from Horseheads. But if they're from, Elmira or Corning or anywhere in this area, I'd be okay with that too. Anyway, when I was at that game, the Trinity Pawling game, I obtained this cowbell. They were giving out a bunch of these cowbells for us alumni to ring during the game, and we're ringing it like crazy. And funny enough, I didn't really ring mine at the game as much as I probably could have. But Trinity Pawling won. A week later, Horseheads had to go to Elmira, which, for the record, Elmira High School is quite literally down the road from me. I could walk there, essentially, if I was so inclined to do so. Not, but I could. My point is, Horseheads has to go to Elmira for Elmira's homecoming. I said one of my goals was to have a Horseheads alumni go to Trinity Pawling, but if I could find a way to somehow combine Trinity Pawling with Horseheads, I'd do it. So I would bring this cowbell to the Elmira game. And, I'm ringing the cowbell, and Horseheads would wind up beating the brakes off of Elmira. For reference, a year before, Elmira came to Horseheads came to our house, Horseheads, for homecoming, and Elmira beat us. That was in 2023. 2024, last year, Horseheads goes to Elmira for their homecoming, and we beat the brakes off them. You know what the difference was? Cowbell. From that moment on, anytime I ever went to a Horseheads game, I'd bring the cowbell. And Horseheads wound up winning sectionals. Yeah, they didn't make it after the first round of sectionals, but you know what? That's the farthest Horseheads ever. That was the first sectional title Horseheads got in almost 30 years. In fact, my junior year, we lost in the sectional title game to Union Endicott. So believe me, I know that hurt all too well. It was crazy, but I can't help but think, like, this cowbell is a perfect representative of me. Like, both Horseheads and Trinity Pawling will always be, like, they are both of them are my alma maters. Like, I know alma mater means, like, all mother or something. Actually, hold on a second. What does alma mater specifically mean? I think it means all mother, right? Something mother. Loving mother? Alma mater meaning. It means, okay. Nourishing mother or bounteous mother. What does bounteous mean? Okay, generous, or, okay, so, yeah, generous mother or nurturing mother. So, yeah, Horseheads and Trinity Pawling are both of my nurturing mothers. And, you know what, it's almost kind of poetic that both of them have the color blue as in their school colors. Horseheads has a blue and white, which, I just realized this ribbon is also blue and white. And Trinity Pawling's colors are blue and gold, which is what this ribbon is. I guess it's really fitting that way. Oh well. My point is, I brought the cowbell last year to the... I've been bringing the cowbell ever since, and every time I brought the cowbell to the Horseheads games, we've been winning. And I have a very strong feeling it's going to work tonight. It's not going to come easy. Trust me. The Elmira Express will not make this easy. This is going to be a big game. But man, is it going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait. Maybe I'll see some of you guys there. I hope you like this video. If you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm very home this video for all of you guys who watch. Enjoy the video. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. And remember, if you guys want to talk to me, we're here to let me know. You back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby. Go Raiders.